Fitin10 Nation, it is day 51. And we've got 19 days to go officially. You might be wondering why I'm doing this video with my shirt off. Well, it's friggin' hot in my house. It is so hot right now. I cannot possibly wear a shirt. My heat is turned off and windows are open. And I guess it's just, I think outside it's like 15 degrees, but my house is frigging boiling. So if you're offended, my apologies, but it's just, you can only really see the top half of me. So, okay, let's get more to your questions. Has anyone ever followed the entire program properly and lost minimal weight and completely transformed their body density measures? Not really. I mean, we've seen some gain in muscle for sure. I think the most muscle we've seen gained is like around 6 pounds. Yeah, it's probably some of that is glycogen. I don't really know why it would be so much glycogen though. I mean, that to me is actual muscle tissue. Or maybe gained more lean body mass than losing fat. No, never, we've not had that happen at once. It's just not possible. Like, you know, to put on that much muscle, it's easy to lose fat. It's hard to gain. I mean, people really don't understand this. If you, I mean, unless you don't have fat, it's really hard to gain more muscle than it is to lose fat. And also the program is designed for you to lose body fat, okay? Does past resistance training or having lots of muscle and strength in the past change how you would progress in this type of challenge? Does past resistance training or having lots of muscle and strength in the past? Yes. You will not progress as much. You just won't. It's all relative here. If you come into the challenge and you're not used to weight training, or you haven't been weight training before, you're going to see a big change. If you are, an extreme example, if it was somebody like me coming to this challenge, I'm not really going to see any change, okay? Because I'm basically doing kind of always doing the challenge, but to maybe a little bit more intense of a degree. Okay, I didn't finish this question here. Change how you would progress in this challenge compared with somebody who has never done much, if any, resistance training or cardio prior. Okay, so I answered that question. Everything is relative. Everything is relative in this challenge, okay? I feel like if I left some carb calories on the table, I would lean out more quickly. But then not having the carbs at the right times would likely make me have sugar cravings. Okay, I don't really know why it has to be carb calories. It could be carb or fat calories. In fact, I'd probably encourage you to cut out fat calories. And believe me, I've been down this road where I did think for a long time that, you know, carb calories were the enemy. Like, that is really the enemy, but it's not. Okay, it's really not. All right, fat is more. There's more likely of a chance for you to store fat in your diet, dietary fat, as body fat than it is carbohydrates. Okay. The problem with carbohydrates is they're not satiating. You can eat in abundance of them. But when we're talking calorie for calorie, no, fat is worse. Yeah, so would you lean out more? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this in the near future here. You know, the dangers, I don't want to say the dangers. It's not really dangerous, but it's, you know, I'm always thinking long term. I'm always thinking long term, at the very least when it comes to this. Some other things in my life I probably should have thought long term, and now I am. But anyways, live and learn, right? In the case of this challenge and what you're doing, I'm always thinking long term. Okay, so yes, you can cut your calories lower, but then what? Then what? You have to ask yourself, then what? Then what? Then what? Right? Because you will plateau. Then what? Right? Food is your, you have to think of food as a tool here, okay? All right, moving right along. How are we doing for time here? Okay, we're doing great, because I didn't really talk too much in the beginning. Name something specific you can improve on for the following week. My form and better concentration. Okay, listen, this is not something that you can really be accountable to, okay? So Again, you got to give me something accountable. I can point out to you, this person, something you could be really accountable to. In fact, I've given you some accountability things, right? Specifics, right? Specifics. Be very specific. I'm going to eat whatever. I'm going to make sure that I get my fat right on cue with what I've been allotted per week instead of going over, right? Okay, something like that. Name something specific you need help with. Have to have better core strength. Better core strength. Okay. People are obsessed with, you know what? People are obsessed with core strength. I don't really think they know what that means. This is something that just gets thrown around a lot. Drives me a little bit nuts. Okay, strength everywhere is pretty important. Okay? Strength everywhere is actually pretty important. What is the difference between Zoom classes versus gym classes? Pros and cons. The Zoom classes are designed to be done at home. They are less resistance based. They are more voluminous based. They are more calorie burning based classes and less resistance based. Okay, short term you burn more calories. Long term you don't get really as much. You don't really get as much investment in terms of your lean body mass. Okay. They're a good complement to the weight training. Well, you know what? They're kind of in between. You can think of them as being sort of in between. You got resistance training on one end, and you got cardio on the other end, and then sort of in between you would have the Zoom classes. Additional comments or questions? Shout out to Coach Ken for being patient and understanding when I have difficulty in getting the actual exercise form. I really appreciate him. What about me? What about me? Okay, what about me? How come I'm not mentioned here? Why? Okay, I've been pretty patient with you. But yeah, shout out to Coach Ken. Coach Ken, you're doing a great job. Thank you. Okay, actually, I don't think Ken watches these, so anyways, I'll let him know. But I'd like to have my name there too. Be nice. Thank you. Okay, moving along here, 7:20. Name something specific you can improve upon for the following week. Get in my cardio. I plan to do them, but then end up not following through. Okay, so you got to set them in your calendar and set them earlier in the week rather than later in the week. The later you set them in, the less likely you're going to do them. Also, best time to do them, wake up early and just get it over with. That's the best time you can do cardio. The best time. Name something specific you need help with. What is the best thing to do when I can't finish a complete set rather than just give up? Well, you're not really giving. Giving up is having more in the tank. Giving up is this. You can do 8, but you stop at 5. That's giving up. If you can only do 8, and you do 8, that's fine. You've given it everything you can. That's all you can do. If you're not getting the prescribed numbers, you need to drop your weight down. Okay? But if you can't, if it's just too heavy and you can't actually perform the amount of reps that I want you to, then that's okay. That's not giving up. That's just you can't. Listen, like if I ask you to run 100 meters in 10 seconds, and you're like, well, I'm running as fast as I can, but I can only do it in 14 seconds. There's nothing else you can do. I can't be like, well, shame on you or bad you or, you got to try harder. No, I'm trying as hard as I can. That's all we can ask for. Okay, so in this case, we just need to drop the weight down. Is there anything you'd like me to cover in this week's video series? Gym etiquette. Do's and don'ts for someone that doesn't regularly go to the gym. Okay, we'll get into this next video, okay? Let's get the message of the day here. Message of the day. Those who remain focused win or succeed. But for the sake of this, you can think of this as succeed, right? But those who remain focused win. Those who can go the longest being focused will get the farthest. Okay? I hate to say win or succeed because it feels like there's an ending point. With this, I don't want you to think of an ending point. I want you to think of this as continuous. The more focused you can be, the more you adhere to whatever it is you've planned out to help yourself progress. Okay, beyond this challenge, of course, the better you will do. You have to remain focused. You have to be strong. You have to be strong. You have to be aware of what you're doing and not fall off the rails. You have to stay on the rails and keep going. The more you fall off here and there, or maybe it's more than here and there, hopefully it's not, the more you will be held back. The more likely you are to get to your destination, at least in the time period that you've set forth. Okay? All right? Listen, reminder, you need to follow everything 100%. You need to follow everything 100%. I want to remind you, if you think you can get away with being really good for a couple days or a week, and then throwing something in, right, or just eating some of this or that, like most days are good, but other days are maybe not so good, you are likely to only remember the good days. You will always discount the stuff you're not doing well. Trust me. So make sure that if you are going off the rails, that you put everything in your journal so that you can go back and look at all your mistakes, rather than just putting in everything that you did well. Okay? I know this is happening to some people. I know this. Okay? I know this. Well, how do I know this? Because it's just what happens. It's just experience. Okay? So put everything in. I'm not here to judge you. Okay? I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to help you. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself. And for the love of God, I will see you all tomorrow. Hopefully in class. Heading into week 8. And of course, your macros you should get by now. You should have all your macros by now, okay? Talk to you all soon, guys.